like that.
December the 15th, 2020. First item of business is the approval of the agenda. We do have one addition to make. The item, that's under new business, correct?
Correct.
So 5A will be budget ordinance amendments, and 5B will be CDBG public hearings. Are there any other additions or changes? If not, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
There's a second? All right, any question or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is the approval of the minutes. You have a copy of our regular meeting on December the 1st, as well as the organizational meeting on December the 7th. After having had a chance to read these in advance, it's distributed by the clerk. Do I have a motion then that we approve them as presented?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. I would like to have a little bit of leeway here. We are under sort of a time crunch today. I do have to be out of here as soon as possible. We've got several items that we need to vote on. So let's forego. I don't think we have anybody anybody here for public comment yet or online? Okay. Well, let's forego the administrative reports and the public comment section for right now. We'll move that to the end. And let's move straight into the consent agenda, and I'll recognize Ms. Fox to go forward.
Good afternoon. I'll go to the highlights for the month of November. The general fund revenues collected to date, $31,828,826. That's 46.12% of budget. The general fund expenditures, $26,700,976. That's 39.92% of budget. The revenues are $5,127,850 more than the expenditures at this time. The ad valorem taxes collected, $21,892,280. That's 62.63% of budget. Motor vehicle taxes collected, $561,845. That's 38.7% of budget. The prior year taxes collected, $339,857. That's 37.76% of budget. We did receive the sales and use tax for the month of November, which represented August sales. That amount was $1,540,116. That's 14.03% more than we received November of last year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The landfill disposal fees collected are at 62.24% of budget at $1,174,905. The prior year disposal fees, $27,824. That's 46.37% of budget. The growth revenues we're tracking. The code enforcement, environmental health, and register deeds are all well above where they should be at this time. The register deeds has already collected 117% of our budget. But that's, we're seeing the deeds transfer.
117%, you said?
Yeah. So there's
That's a lot of sales.
yeah, we're already over budget at $93,000. The general fund contingency, the total, $1,814,476. I'll be glad to answer any questions on the report.
Any questions for Ms. Fox? Okay, hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll also now hear from our tax collector, Ms. Brandy Henson, for the tax collector and refund report for November 2020.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Thank you. I was looking for you to come around.
Good afternoon. The 2020 taxes collected for the county were $7,220,754. It was $6,718,738 for general taxes and interest. The delinquent taxes collected were $48,032. $43,894 of that was for general taxes and interest. And the total deposited for November was $7,565,901.65. Also for the month, there are refunds of $1,247.15, overpayment refunds of $38,977.66, and releases of $3,869.92.
Any questions, Ms. Henson? All right, we have now heard both items under the consent agenda, and we usually vote on these two items together as one vote. Do I have a motion now that we approve these two items as been presented?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, any discussion about this motion? All right, at this time I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Stillman?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody? Yes. Commissioner Dees?
Yes.
Chairman Hunt?
Yes, motion carries. Next is new business. We're going to take up item 4 first. As I say, we're going to jump around a little bit today, so I'll recognize Mr. Adams to highlight item 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What we have in front of you today is, I apologize for get the information in front of me also. Is information that was discussed at the last work session. And as you can see, we do have the cover letter that's presented to the board, that was presented to the board back in December 10th. And the request before the board today is to provide a COLA to all county employees. That's a cost of living adjustment. To provide a one-time bonus to all public schools certified teachers and other staff. It's recommended this be a one-time bonus this year, all the money be allocated, and then that money be retained for next year for the Board of Education to come back and present to the commissioners a revised teacher supplement plan, and that would be discussed for the upcoming budget year. The next item is to provide an additional 2% funding increase to the Jackson County Libraries, and then also to provide an additional 2% funding increase to Southwestern Community College. Since these proposals are for ongoing expenses, it's recommended that these be paid for by ongoing revenues, which would be out of our sales tax. And then it's also proposed to for the board to consider providing a one-time bonus to all full-time and permanent part-time county employees. And so what I did include is the same information that this board had seen at the work session. So if you go to the next page, and this is online, if you recall at the work session, I did mention to you that Ms. Fox had presented or given me some information that slightly changed the numbers that were in front of you. I just wanted to show you that the only thing different from what you've seen before is you see the 202,464. What was presented to you last week was 201,084, so very slight change. I just wanted to point out those two numbers. Otherwise, they're all the same. Ms. Fox had just updated the information. You'll see when you see the budget amendment how much, when you start talking about putting in salaries for each department, then it's quite a task. You can also see, so you do see the numbers for the cost of living adjustment for the employees, the $359,000. That would provide a $500 bonus to each certified teacher and non-certified teacher for the Board of Education employees. And then you can see the amount there, the 2% for the regional library and the 2% for the Southwestern Community College. What I did include is the same information in regards to just justification that's showing the board that we do have the revenues here available to pay for the ongoing expenses. And then the final sheet was just showing the available COVID dollars, and that is recommended that the board take the one-time bonus. And the one-time bonus to county employees proposed to be at $100 a month for a maximum of 10 months per employee. So if you've been employed during the entire COVID crisis situation, that would allow you to qualify for up to 10 months or up to $1,000 bonus. And Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say that I believe this will appropriately show appreciation to our employees. Personally, I'd like to thank our employees for all the work that they've been doing, and they're going to continue to do so throughout the year. And I also think this is a great opportunity for this board to start going down a path of looking at teacher supplements and also recognizing the good work of our school system. And having said that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it over to the board.
Do I have a motion then concerning this item 4?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I apologize.
Yes, sir.
Now, you see the next item that's on your agenda is the budget amendments.
Mhm.
So I think we do need to just briefly go over the budget amendments in order for you to, I wasn't sure what needed to go first. Do we need to discuss this more or put the budget amendment in front of you? So if it pleases the board, I'll also have Ms. Fox talk to you about
that'd
the
be good. Go
proposed
ahead.
budget.
Okay, the budget amendments presented is for $975,698. That's a 7% increase in the sales tax revenue. You can see the highlighted items on the worksheet. Those items are the sales tax that's dedicated to the public schools. So the first amendment is general fund. It's an increase of the $975,698. And all of that is sales tax, but it incorporates transfers to other funds.
So if you recall, what I was saying to the board at the work session was the 647 was the numbers that were solely county dollars. And if you remember, I was talking to you, my numbers only show sales tax that are 100% county dollars. These other highlights that Ms. Fox is showing you, the additional 328, that's sales tax that's dedicated for the school. So I just wanted to show you, you look at 647, 656, that's what actually was previously discussed. Now, right now, the 328 that's being added to the capital improvements for schools, that hasn't been dedicated at this point.
Correct.
Making the revenues available to those funds.
The second amendment is for the school capital reserve fund. It's an increase for the Article 46 taxes in the amount of $105,074. The school capital reserve, but just for the public school, is an increase of $222,968. We have emergency telephone increase of $1,762. Economic Development Fund 23 increase of $960.
Where is it? Let me get you caught up here. So let's go back to that first one.
It's further through the pages. It says budget, where it says budget ordinance amendments.
You can see on this one where this is general fund transferring to the other funds. And it's also the Article 46. And then the school capital reserve for their normal capital reserve. Emergency telephone. Economic development.
So hang on before we go back to 911, just for our new commissioners here. So the reason we're having to do those budget amendments there is we have employees that work for us that don't fall under the general fund. That's where our tax dollars are. So if you take the 911 fund, that 911 fund is for employees that work under those separate set of revenues. So the same thing for economic development, is that correct? So when we start talking about bonuses and so forth, you have to add and do things there. So economic development or that's the cost of living act.
Yes, it's for,
Yeah, so that's just letting you know why we're showing you these other funds, is because we have employees that work under these other funds. And so when you start moving dollars into those funds for the cost of living, that's outside of the general fund.
the next one is real property revaluation. It's an increase of $2,334. And then solid waste fund, increase of $3,559. And the green energy park, increase of $1,434. Any questions on the amendments?
So do you want us to vote? Is there any need then to vote on, number 4? Is that just presentation only?
We can vote on them.
You need to vote.
Okay, that's
So
what
I would
I'm
ask for you
sure.
to vote the budget amendments first, and then go ahead and vote to award the cost of living raise as discussed, award the 2% increase, let me back up. So I would ask you to vote for the budget amendment that's as presented, and then when you go back,
Then go back and vote on 4 second.
then we have to vote for those individual items that were requested.
All right, so we will take up item 5A, which is the budget ordinance amendments. It's presented by Ms. Fox, describing in detail where all this various funds from our sales tax have been reallocated. Having heard the budget amendments as presented by Ms. Fox, our finance director, do I have a motion that we approve the amendments?
I move that we approve the collage of amendments that presented to us by Ms. Fox.
Okay, we have a second. All right, any question or discussion about the amendments that Ms. Fox presented? Okay, if not, Madam Clerk, you'll call the roll.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Knight.
Yes, motion carries. Now we'll go back to item 4, which is the mid-year funding adjustments and the county employee bonuses. And Don has reviewed the various financial distributions that has been presented that we went over in our work session. Do I have a motion that we approve these adjustments as presented? You make a motion?
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any question or discussion? Hearing none then, Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Dees,
Yes.
Chairman Knight.
Yes, motion carries. I think it's a great opportunity, as Don has said, for us to recognize the hard work of not only our employees, but various other individuals, teachers in our county, other staff members. This has been a trying year, it's been a hard year, and we're not out of this yet. And we appreciate all the hard work that they have done and continue to do, and look for ways that we can continue to support them in the future. All right, let's take up item 5B while Mr. Adams is here at the podium.
Yes, sir. As this board recalls, just a reminder, we have received initially a $1 million community development block grant to assist us in water and sewer for the Blue Ridge School. And as this board recalls also, we received an additional $280,000 in funding from CDBG block grant funds to help us with that project. Well, those funds, the $280,000 comes from actually 2 other fiscal years from the CDBG program, and they have to be treated separately than our $1 million grant. So long story short, we have to treat the remaining $280,000. We have to reapply, go through public hearings, things of that nature. So I'm just requesting permission from the board to schedule some upcoming public hearings regarding the additional $280,000 we're slated to receive in CDBG funds for the Blue Ridge Water and Sewer Project. And generally we would come and ask for specific dates. But at this point, planning staff is still trying to work on those dates, so we'll just attempt to have them scheduled during our regular meeting.
Those two grants covered the entire cost of the project.
Yeah, the only thing that the county put in there, it covered the entire construction contract. And we put in there little additional funds, like 180 something thousand, that's gonna help with contingency. So out of the 1.4 or so million dollar project, we are going to potentially pay out of the sales tax we just discussed, out of the actually Article 46 sales tax we just discussed.
Yeah.
Potentially up to 180,000 approximately in that sales tax. Hopefully, we won't need the contingency and we won't spend any of our local dollars.
Okay. So you've heard the request. Is there a motion in order?
I move that we accept the scheduling of hearings for these grants.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion about what Don is presenting? Okay, if not, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Dean?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Stearns?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Knight?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, that brings us down to our legislation. Let's take up items 6 and 7, and I'll recognize first item 6, Ms. Baker.
Tom, if you want to pull it up, I can talk.
Chairman, do we need to do number 3 that we skipped?
We're going to come back to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's a much lengthier presentation.
Okay.
So this is a resolution, your procedures that you adopted at your organizational meeting and the North Carolina General Statute states that once you determine your meeting dates, it needs to be adopted by resolution. So this is a resolution doing that, setting that out, and it's stating that your first the first meeting of the month will be the first Tuesday at 6 p.m. The second meeting will be the third Tuesday at 1 p.m. And the work sessions, I thought they were on there, will begin at 1 on the second Tuesday of the month, and that's all the resolution.
Okay. So we have this resolution that is resolution R20-26, as Ms. Baker has highlighted. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I move we adopt RS 36 resolution.
Have a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion or questions? Hearing none then, Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Stearns?
Yep.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Dean?
Yes.
Chairman Knight?
Yes, motion carries. Next is item 7. This is a resolution delegating authority to the manager to accept sidewalk ownership and maintenance in reference to the cashier sidewalks. Once again, this is an item we discussed at the work session previously. This is listed as resolution R20-27. I'll recognize our manager first to speak, and then I think Mr. Poston is going to also offer some comments. Manager?
The only change that has been made since the last, as far as this map goes, as far as from our last conversation, if you recall, right here, there's a little yellow strip that went outside of the dotted line. This dotted line actually ended right here, but the concept is still the same. I just asked that the planning department extend this area out to include what we know to be future design of sidewalks and so forth. So in essence, we are talking about phase 2 basically being this crossroads section here. And then the dotted line comes down a little bit down in this area too. Having said that, there, I'll defer over to Mr. Postman to explain a little.
And Don's got basically all of it. I think that instead of calling it phase 1 and phase 2, because their phases kind of take up land area where there's not going to be any sidewalks, we just settled on kind of a modified public sidewalk plan that shows the corridors that sidewalks are the most commonly be on, which is basically public rights of way, DOT rights of way. So that's what you see the dotted lines encapsulating at this point. And so that would help us with the requests that we're receiving. And basically, it's the same. So the similar resolution gives the county manager the authority to accept or sign into third-party encroachment agreements that allow us to maintain those sidewalks when appropriate.
And that's one of the things that I just want to point out, make sure everybody understands. This is authorizing the county manager to proceed forward with these agreements, but it's always my intention to still get staff input on this and make sure that whatever's being proposed to the county fits within our recommendation.
Chairman, you'd like a motion?
I would like a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, resolution 20-27.
They have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion or questions?
I do have one question. It
Sure.
says, these parts that say, sidewalk in design, has the money already been provided for those pieces
So,
from DOT?
well, so a lot of these, in working with Vision Cashers, and that's the organization we're working with, they're working with property owners, and they're self-funding. Now, DOT won't pay for sidewalks outside of actual road projects,
Okay,
so this would all be private funded.
okay,
So none of this, the county is not actually paying to build the
Right.
sidewalk.
okay,
These are being done
Yes.
by either the private developer under our ordinance or through this vision capture effort.
yes, thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dean,
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes,
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Knapp.
Yes, motion carries. Let's take a look next right quick at our appointment section. Let me just say, as we move into this, there are a lot of appointments that need to be made. I don't anticipate that we make them all today. If there are, as I run through this list right quick and just highlight the ones that need to be made, if you have a name and we want to go ahead and take care of it today, we can. If not, we'll just carry the rest of these over till January. That gives us several weeks to work on trying to make some phone calls and come up with these names to supply. So don't feel pressured to have to do these today, but this is just going to be a reminder of what we've got coming that needs to be replaced. So item 8 is the Agricultural Advisory Board, 2 seats open. Commissioner Strickland and Commissioner Jones both have appointments. Do either one of you have a name today?
I'm sorry,
Do you have a name for today on the Agriculture Advisory Board?
No.
Okay, all right, we'll carry this item over till the next.
Mr. Chairman, I hate to interrupt, but is this a good time really to talk about when we run through, to talk about a little bit of our, just 30 seconds on our
Talk
process?
about what?
30 seconds on our process as far as how nominations
Go
go.
ahead.
And this is really for the new board members too. So whenever there is a new board member recommended, they do have to fill out an application to the county. That application is actually submitted to our clerk. The clerk goes through a background check process and goes through a process so that we can do background checks, things of that nature. So I would always recommend, and I think our current policy is as you're going through and looking to recommend appointments, we always recommend that you have these individuals fill out an application and submit the application to the clerk and allow the clerk to go through the process with human resources and so forth to do the background checks. And for you to work with your clerk and with county staff to run the background checks prior to bringing the name for nomination here. It's always recommended to do that, just to be on the safe side. And I want to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that because that is very important, especially for our 2 new board members. That when you approach these individuals and ask them if they would be interested in serving, as Mr. Adams has stated.
So I'm going to go see Mr. Brad Stillwell.
You can go see Mr. Brad Stilwell and see, in this case, he is a current serving.
He is not eligible for reappointment.
He's not eligible. Yeah, some of these are not eligible. So in this
Okay,
case,
so I'll be working with somebody else.
yeah, you'll need to find someone else from that district area.
Okay.
And you can work with staff there to come up with make sure you pull someone from that district who resides within that district area to represent that part of the county.
Okay.
Have them fill out an application and submit all that to Angie, and then we'll process it and be in a position to bring it back.
And what's interesting about that, we missed what you just mentioned, district. These are things that it's good for the individual to fill an application out first. Because we have had occasions where everybody thought that they actually lived in the district.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then when
I
they
have
actually put their address down,
Yeah.
and then when it went through the process, it was discovered, well, actually, they don't live in the district. So these are just little
Yeah.
examples that,
Oh, okay.
that it was
Yeah.
always good to, after you speak to someone, to have them fill out the application and let them go through the vetting process.
I see, okay. And when do I need to have this done by?
Well, there's not a set date. I mean, we'll, each consecutive meeting coming forward in the future, we will bring this up, and if we've got the names, then we'll go ahead and vote on them. Obviously, the sooner we can, secure a name, then that's better.
Okay.
But, you know, sometimes it takes a little while. This is one of the harder things to do, is try to
Yeah.
find people willing to commit to serving. So
Right,
it may take you several weeks.
yeah, okay.
All right, next one is item 9. It's the airport authority.
Let me ask one more
Okay,
quick,
yes, sir, Mr. Deeds.
that I could advisory board,
Yes.
explain the ex officio member. The last one there.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, there's a ordinance somewhere that establishes this board, and it calls for someone to be an ex officio. What is her? Usually, ex officio is someone who serves as an employee or staff member.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, she's no longer employed.
Okay, well, we need to change that one.
She hadn't been in 2 years.
Okay.
And where was she at?
She was the FSA person. Farm Service Agency. She lives in this district, but this Farm Service office is located both in Dyson City and Jackson County. But she's no longer there.
Okay. Well, if we could, let's have staff reach out and find the appropriate name that would be that ex officio member.
In fact, Randy Gage was just elected as a FSA person. These counties, I don't know, maybe a D is.
It may very well be. But if y'all follow up on that, we'll make sure we correct that when we make these appointments.
So, and let everybody also, if you're ever interested, Angie does maintain a book of not only these organizations, but their bylaws and things of that nature. So we may not know the answers of these types of questions right off the top of our head, but just if you got any questions like that, then just reach out to Angie and myself, and we'll get that fixed under.
Thank you, Commissioner Deeds. That's a good point to make about changing that. All right, then item 9 is the airport authority. Commissioner Jones has served on that board for quite some time and is eligible for reappointment. Also, Mr. John Glenn his seat is eligible for reappointment. Mr. Jones, do you?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to continue serving as chairman of the airport authority, and Mr. Glenn has asked me he would like to continue serving.
Yes.
So
Well, let's, since you're one of the appointees, would someone like to make a motion to reappoint these 2 individuals?
I move that we reappoint Mark Jones and John Glenn to the airport authority.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any questions or discussions about the appointments? All right, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll.
Commissioner Jones,
yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Dees,
Yes.
Chairman Knight.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, that brings us down to Business and Industry Advisory Committee, number 10. We had a letter from Rich Price saying that we got Roger Bartlett, who is District 3, and Mark Letson, who is District 4. They are very active committee members, and so they're eligible for reappointment if we choose to reappoint. Does anybody have a suggestion on this one? We want to carry it over.
Carry it over.
Okay, let's carry this one over till the next time. All right, that brings up 11, which is the Coley Planning Council. There's one vacancy, and that one is mine, and I have not made that appointment yet. I do have some names. I'm working to select one of the couple of names that I've been given, so I'd like to carry that one over. Item 12, Historic Preservation. That one likewise would be myself and Commissioner Stribling for appointments. I'll carry mine over unless you're ready today as well. You want to carry it over to January?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll carry that one over. Item 13 is the planning board appointments. We have Commissioner Dietz has an appointment. You have one for today, sir?
Not that I know
Okay, we'll have to carry that one. But then we have at large, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at large seats that are available. Commissioner Woody, did you indicate you had a name?
I do. The 4 names that our planning director, Michael Poston, mentioned have served well, and they are recommended to be carried over. And then for Jeremy Hyatt, who has already served his 3 terms, I would like to bring forth the name of Olin Dunford to serve at large, replacing Jeremy Hyatt.
So the motion then would be to reappoint Emily Moss, Kirk Schufelt, Tamara Crisp, and Mark Letson, and then appoint Olin Dunford.
Yes.
So that's the motion that's been put on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? And then just to clarify, Commissioner Deeds will work to come up with a name for the District 2 representative that we can vote on at a later date.
Limb out there.
You what?
That put me out on a limb,
It
didn't
did. Pressure's on.
The pressure's on.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Sterling?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Knight?
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to 14, which is the Public Library Board. We had a letter from our county librarian requesting that Rebecca Watkins be appointed to the Jackson County Library Board. That's to fill a vacancy. Am I correct on that? That's one vacancy. Yeah, the one vacancy for the down here.
Do we know if she submitted the application?
Yes.
Yes.
I make a motion to appoint Ms. Watkins to the
Okay.
library board.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Sterling?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Deeds?
Yes.
Chairman Knight?
Yes, motion carries. Next is item 15, Tourism Development Authority, the TDA. Have a letter from Nick Breedlove. Okay, Mr. Breedlove is on Zoom. If we have any questions, Commissioner Jones, did I understand you had some?
I'd like to approve, make a motion to have these recommendations from Mr. Breedlove appointed to the CDA.
Okay.
We had an organizational meeting via Zoom last week, and all was involved and moving forward.
Okay, so it's my understanding that it would be Daniel Fletcher, Craig Smith, Scott Green, and Robert Jumper. Chair, is that all of them?
And to reappoint Dale Collins.
And reappoint Dale Collins, yes.
I guess there's all these applications.
I would like to just make a comment on Mr. Smith. He has been very supportive of our litter campaign and several other community activities. And so I think that it's a great thing to be able to appoint him to this board. He's very civic minded. as well as these others.
We have a second on that? Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Jones to appoint these names as recommended by the TDA. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? Madam Clerk, you call the roll.
Commissioner Dean?
Yeah, yes.
Commissioner Woody? Yes. Commissioner Sturdivant?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Mack?
Yes, motion carries.
Only there was a second
There-
on that one as well.
Oh, then yes, the second request would be to appoint the chair.
A commissioner appointment to serve in Mr. Ron Mao's ex officio seat.
I think that happened at your organizational meeting, when
Oh.
Mr. Duff was appointed, but they.
Oh, that's right.
It has been requested that Mr. Duffer, be appointed chairman. I think that is a commissioner appointment.
Correct. So do I have a motion then to appoint Robert Jumper chair?
I make that motion.
All right,
Second.
motion and a
Hasn't
second.
he been the chair before?
He has, and served very well. Any question or discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, you call the roll.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturdivant?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody? Yes. Commissioner Dean? Chairman Mack?
Yes, motion carries. That brings us down to 16, the Transit Advisory Board. There are 2 appointments, both are vacancies. We don't have any recommendations or any names, so unless someone has one, this is one, too, we need to carry
No,
over.
Mr. Chairman, we're meeting tomorrow, Trinity Board,
Yes,
and I'll speak to them about these 2 vacancies.
okay, very good, and then maybe we can get some names for January. All right, we've moved through that rather quickly. I appreciate your indulgence on that. Let's move back up then to the one item we have not taken up yet is the budget or the county audit report for fiscal year 2019-2020. And we do have, who would like to start on this one? All right, so I'll recognize Ms. Fox to start the discussion here on the audit report. Then she can recognize the speaker.
We've got the presentation today from Martin Starnes and Associates, and Mr. Matt Braswell will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Darlene, and thank you, Chairman and members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to take some time out of your meeting today. I am going to screen share my screen for the presentation.
No.
Thank you.
Hold on, let's get your volume turned up just a little.
Okay.
How do we do that?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm trying to press the plus on mine, and it says auto adjustment in progress.
see if, can you turn up your mic on your, or we can barely hear you, Mr. Braswell.
Yes. Let me see if I can get a little bit more volume. Mine is showing I'm on 100 right now. Volume.
A bit better. Can y'all hear?
Yeah, we can hear you better when you sort of lean in and.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. I'll
There you
try to be a little bit more loud and speak a little more loudly here so you can hear me. I'm going to screen share my computer to pull up the presentation for your 2020 audited financial statements. But thank you again for allowing me to take some time out of your meeting today. I know everyone is super busy and a lot of things going on here before the holidays. All right. Is everyone able to see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So let's see here. Where is my screen thing? One second. I'm sorry. Where did my mouse go here? Sorry, my mouse is. Okay, All right, here we go. I want to go over a little bit, go over some audit highlights here. We issued an unmodified opinion, which means that is a clean opinion, which means your financial statements that we audited are materially correct in accordance with GAAP. And also, I apologize. My name is Matthew Braswell. I'm the senior manager on your job, and Erica Brown is the partner on your job. And just wanted to kind of give you that. And I know this year has been a little bit different there, and having a presentation through Zoom is a little bit different than I'm sure what everyone is accustomed to. But I appreciate everyone able to work remotely and everything like that. Very cooperative staff, Darlene and everyone that we worked with, very, very, very pleasant, very accommodating, very just a pleasure to work with, able to get us everything in a timely manner, multiple requests, different things, just awesome communication throughout the audit, very responsive through emails, everyone excuse me, from Darlene to the DSS staff when we're doing our major program testing, just everyone involved in the entire process. We are very, very thankful and glad we were able to work with Jackson County this year. Some audit highlights here as well. Want to go over your 2020 property tax revenues and collection rate. As you can see, property tax revenues increased from the prior year, and you can see that your collection rate increased to about 98.1% there. And you can see your collection rate in the prior year of a little bit less than 98%. So overall, an increase in property tax revenue and an increase in your collection rate, which is very good. And just to kind of put that in perspective, your average statewide for your population group of 25,000 to 49,999 is 98.11. So you are right there at that mark, just slightly above the statewide average for your population group. So that is very good. And now we'll go in your general fund summary. As you can see revenues exceeded expenditures by about 4.7 million there. And you can see your comparison to 2020 to 2019, you had increases in revenues as well as increases in expenses. And so over the next few slides, we're going to go over your fund balance position in your general fund, and then we're going to go into your top 3 revenue sources and top 3 expenditure functions. Your fund balance, this serves as a measure of the county's financial resources available. So everything that's left over is your fund balance. After your assets, your deferred outflows, your liabilities, deferred inflows, your fund balance or your net position or everything that's left over is what kind of like your savings there, your fund balance. And there's 5 classifications of your fund balance. Non-spendable, which this is not in cash form. This is your inventory and prepaids. Then you have your restricted fund balance, which is external restrictions such as grant funding, various outside external restrictions, third-party restrictions. You have committed fund balance, which is this by the board. It's internal constraints by the board, and they do not expire at year end. Assigned, this is internal constraint. This is the lowest level that you can assign fund balance to there. And then unassigned is everything left over with no restrictions. This slide right here is your total fund balance. As you can see, your comparison over the past 3 years there. So fund balance increased about 2.2 million, or total fund balance did, to about 29.3 million in your general fund. The next slide, we will go over your fund balance position and what your unassigned fund balance is for 2020. So you have your total fund balance of roughly 29.3. You have restricted for register of deeds. Then the stabilization by state statute. This is a North Carolina law there that you have to reduce your available fund balance by stabilization by state statute. This is in turn basically your accounts receivable. It is money that is not received in yet, that is not available for appropriation. Assigned and committed fund balance. This is assignments or committed for revow. It's various commitments and assignments within the county in your fund balance. As you can see, come up to your unassigned fund balance in 2020 of 19.6 million roughly. And you can see compared to your 2019 fund balance, that is a 1.8 million increase in your unassigned fund balance in your general fund. And this next slide here, will show what reserves you have on hand. And so to put that in perspective, roughly 8% is 1 month supply on hand. So your unassigned fund balance that we talked about on the previous slide, if you take that and divide that into your expenditures and transfers out in your general fund, you get 27% in fiscal year 2020. So you have roughly a little over 3 months reserves on hand, and compared to the prior year of 23.4%. So roughly an increase of about 4% in your unassigned fund balance as a percentage of expenditures. Now we're going to go over your top 3 revenue sources here. Property tax, which is going to be the largest revenue source for all local governments typically here. So you can see that you had an increase from the prior year. So overall collection rate up, increase in levy as well. So in turn, increased your property tax revenue by roughly $500,000 from the prior year. Other taxes and licenses, this is mainly your local option sales tax. And I know y'all have already kind of touched base and talked about that when you were doing budget amendments and various other business there. But overall, an increase of about 8 to 9% in your local option sales tax of about 1.3 million there. So overall, that is very, very good. We were a little worried with the pandemic and COVID and everything, how sales tax was going to turn out, but overall sales tax increase for Jackson County there for this is a screenshot at 6/30/20. So overall increase in your local option sales tax for the year. Next slide, this is restricted intergovernmental revenues. This is mainly your federal and state funding or different various grants and awarding there, mainly made up of DSS and healthcare revenues there. As you can see, an increase of about $600,000 or 8%, and it is pretty much all DSS related funding increase for the year, fiscal year 2020 there. So overall, it's DSS related funding caused that increase.
Okay, sir, we do have a question. I think Commissioner Woody right quick wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
Does this increase include COVID money?
There is a small amount of COVID money shown in this restricted intergovernmental. You have a specific fund for the CARES Act funding that was allotted through the all local governments there. You have a separate fund. I think Darlene can probably touch on that. That was your first allocation was roughly $940,000, but there was also various other strings of COVID money, some related to EMS, some related to DSS. So yes, you do have some COVID money within this restricted intergovernmental, but the large part of the CARES Act, the 900-some thousand, is not included in this. It is in a separate fund. But I would say there's probably I think there's $200,000 to $300,000 of COVID money in this funding. So yes, there is some in this restricted intergovernmental, but not the full CARES Act amount. But yes, ma'am.
I just wondered if that was what reflected the increase.
That has some to do with it. Some foster care. There was a little bit in the DSS funding that had COVID money there, and then some related to EMS. And so, yes, there is some COVID related money that does help to account for the increase, but mainly it's DSS related funding that increased here. But some of that is COVID money. So, but not if it increased about $600-some thousand, I would say probably half of that would be COVID related funding.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. This next slide, we're going to start on your top 3 expenditure functions here. Public safety, as you can see, an increase from the prior year of roughly $1 million here. And this is mainly additional salaries and benefits for COVID-related functions here, the pandemic type as well, just salaries and benefit increases there, and some additional insurance claims there in the current year for 2020. So mainly it's the additional salaries and benefits and costs that you incurred for COVID-related expenses there, accounted for a majority of the increase. Human Services, as you can see here, as when we were talking about the restricted and governmental, so your Human Services and then your restricted and governmental revenues, these should correlate fairly similar. So as you remember from a few previous slides, your restricted and governmental revenues increased about 600,000. And then you can see here that Human Services, DSS, healthcare related increased about the similar amount there. So overall, an increase there in your DSS funding correlates to more expenditures related to human services. General government, you can see an increase here as well from the prior year of roughly $1 million there. And this is mainly due to capital outlay fluctuations from the prior year. You had additional capital outlay in 2020 to account for the majority of that increase as well. So increase there in your general government function. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything you would like me to touch on more, or anything you would like me for me to answer?
Any additional questions from the board members? I believe that's good.
All right. Well, I thank you so much. And have any other questions, please feel free to contact me directly or ask Darlene, and we will be sure to whatever we need to do.
And is this an item that you are requesting a vote on?
I think you said it done, but that was the question you accepted.
Okay. So we've been presented the financial overview of the fiscal year 2019-2020 audit report. Is there a motion to accept what's been presented?
I move we accept as been presented by our auditor.
Okay. Have a motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? I think that the important thing to note and to make sure that we reflect on is that it is a very strong positive view of where we're at as a county financially, and I think it says a lot about our ability to have managed this crisis and pandemic, as well as the other just normal routine day-to-day operations, and our staff has done a really good job at and we as commissioners, I think, also have to give ourselves credit for having put together a budget and a plan. And so it's a joint effort on all fronts, and at the end of the day, we have a lot to be positive about when we look at this audit report. Any other comments or questions?
I appreciate that he mentioned that Darlene has done such an outstanding job, as we all know. We appreciate that as well.
Okay, hearing no other comments or questions, then we have a motion and a second. Now it's time to vote, and I'll ask our clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Dees?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Hackney?
Yes, motion carries. Did we ever have anybody else show up for informal comment? Okay. Don't see anyone, so we don't have any of that. We're working backwards on this. Mr. Manager, I'll let you do, since we're doing everything else backwards, why not just do this one backwards too? Mix it up today. Let you give your report.
And so everybody should have a copy in their book. Going through the report here, what I do have enclosed in your packets is the November 2020 zoning and building permits. This is something that we just follow through on a monthly basis to give elected officials, along with the mayors. We share this information with the mayors to just give you a little bit of information of types of projects that are being approved and built in your area and in your community. And so very quickly, you can see that the planning department issued 3 commercial zoning permits, and the code enforcement issued 2 commercial permits and 3 renovation addition permits. One of the key things to note here too, that if you looked at the register deeds fees that are going up, a lot of property is being sold and bought. I'm talking about existing property, but if a lot of that's raw property also, that's always an indicator that we're going to see even more construction in this community. So generally what you do see is when register deeds fees go up, you'll see building inspections and planning fees and so forth eventually go up because building will catch up to the transfer of the land. The next item is just the update on our community services center. We have received our temporary certificate of occupancy that was issued here recently. Furniture will be completed, install will be completed tomorrow. Currently, right now, we do have permitting, code enforcement, and planning over there reviewing their furniture install. The health department will be spending all day tomorrow over there. They're also all staff is getting tour of the building now.
Great.
So today and tomorrow, they're starting to see and they're getting excited to move in. Again, the health department will move in the week of January 4th through 8th. They will officially be closed for those dates. Let me scroll back up to this too. They will officially be closed for that moving week. Permitting and code enforcement will move into the facility the Monday and Tuesday the following week which is January 11th and 12th. Their civil operations will be closed for the move. And the planning department will utilize the week of January 11th through the 15th for their move. A little bit smaller in size, so they don't see any reason to close down. So hopefully we'll complete the move by mid-January.
Wow.
Everything will be up and operational. We will still have growing pains of just living in the building. And what I mean by living in the building, once you move into the building, that's when you can start finding things that may need to be improved or changed. And the message that I send to, I literally have this with the health department management and with also other staff, is that let's live in the building. Let's create a list of items that we want to either be corrected and or improved, and we will work and deal with those situations as they come. And so I think everybody's excited, and I think hopefully once we get moved in and what I call live in the building for a month or two, we can get a formalized grand opening. But having said that, we may need to wait till summertime before we could have a true full-blown grand opening due to the COVID restrictions. So we'll decide that as time proceeds forward. The next item, just the other items for construction projects, our Rescue Center, Green Energy Park, all contracts are signed. The project proceeds forward. I'm gonna put the kilns up for discussion January 12th, 21 work session. That's where I'll just give everybody an update. Commissioner Woody and I have had a little bit of conversation about this, but I'll just talk about what are the opportunities of what can and can't be done, and as far as volunteer labor and the professional help that we need to build the quality kilns that we would all expect to be built. Indoor pool, items such as the resolution certifying the election results, architect, engineering contracts, budget amendment, reimbursement resolution, all that will be on the January 12th, 21 work session for the board to discuss. Blue Ridge School Water and Sewer Project, the notice to proceed has been issued December 7th. And of course, you all voted earlier, we will be having some public hearings on the additional funding allocated for that project. And then finally, you do have enclosed in your packets. This is something we have briefly discussed before, but the chairman did receive a letter, official notification that the Board of Transportation met on December 2nd, 2020, and they did approve the honorary designation of US 441 from exit 74 to intersection NC 19 as the beloved man, Dr. Jerry Wolf Highway. Just a reminder to the board, we will be cutting a check. The county will be paying the full $2,000 for the sign, and then we will get reimbursed from Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians for half of it. And that's something we've worked out originally with the group early in this process. And of course, you have included in your packets along with that letter, the actual resolution itself. And then finally, Mr. Chairman, board members, public and staff, just want everybody to have a safe holidays and happy New Year. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Mr. Adams?
Just the last paragraph on this letter from DOT. If the county or family desires any type of dedication ceremony, and Commissioner McMahon and I did discuss this briefly, but also with the family of Dr. Jerry Wolf, and they definitely want to have a celebration. We would, include tribal members and the stickball team that he was part of, and then the VFW that he was very much a part of in Cherokee. So we may want to look at spring for that as well.
Yeah.
Just because of.
I think that's more realistic.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know the timeline. Do you?
There is not a set timeline.
Okay.
They're just waiting on us, and we
Yes.
might just reply. We work on drafting a letter and send back to say that we're in discussions about it, but given the events of the pandemic and everything else that's going on, that it may be delayed for several months before we get there.
And it says Dirk Cody, who is he's from Robbinsville, and he's our local person. So, okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for our manager? Okay, well, I will now move in reverse order here. We'll start with Commissioner Jones. Any final words for this year with your commissioner report?
Well, it's really good to see the tax rate up. That's probably as high as I can ever recall seeing it in my time as commissioner. So congratulations to Garlene, and that's one reason I ran again, because I knew she wasn't going to retire.
No pressure, no pressure.
We'd like to say Merry Christmas to everybody and have a safe and blessed holidays.
Mr. Strickland?
I really don't have a whole bunch to report, being I'm new to this, but I would like to wish all y'all a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and thank you for the card, Gail. That was awfully sweet.
Well, you're welcome.
But, yeah. Looking forward to a Happy New Year.
Mr. Lee?
I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone as well.
Mr. Deeds?
As a county, I don't know if there's anything we can do to assist some of these nursing homes. Being that I'm the oldest one in the room, I'm old. I get this AARP magazine. This month there was a in-depth study of what has happened with the virus. And they covered about half what they wanted to cover, and they're going to cover the other half next publication. I'm not putting it down on Christmas. It is absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you get what has happened with our older citizens in these nursing homes, the rest of them. 40% of the people that died, that's where they died. And, from what I heard the other day, like Skylar Rest Home, just inundated with it right now. And this whole country's let down those people. We had before it started. And I mean, they're in a situation and continue to be to a point that it's almost so embarrassing we don't even talk about it. And I guess it doesn't happen some of these people don't start with us, but why can't it start with us? But I mean, it's, you, Steve, if you have opportunity, you've got some older folks live around you, get that and read it. People calling, they can't see their loved ones, can't go see them. Call, won't know about them, they said they're fine, they're doing real good. Call back in 20 minutes and they died. That's kind of, you can't get in, it's awful. You need to read that. Anyway, y'all have a good holiday.
Yeah, that is very, very important, and I appreciate you mentioning that, Commissioner Deeds, because it is a critical time right now. Numbers have risen in COVID cases. We've seen a drastic spike. They say a lot of what we're seeing now is attributed to Thanksgiving celebrations, where people gathered maybe when they shouldn't have. So we just want to, and I guess the message that we'll leave with the public today is don't let your guard down. We're very much still in the middle of this pandemic. I know during the holiday season, it's a time where you want to celebrate and be with family and friends and be thankful for all that we have been blessed with, but we need to do so in a very smart way that protects the health and safety of all those around us, because sometimes people may be asymptomatic and not know that they're spreading it, and they could be giving the virus to somebody and not even know it. But you're exactly correct. These nursing homes, assisted living facilities, rest homes, they are the hotbed for, I know Commissioner Jones's wife works in one. We all have family and friends in them. And likewise with our healthcare facilities, it is the front line of the battle. And just encourage and remember those folks in our thoughts and prayers. Also, I would say that we remind people to be vigilant about hand washing, be vigilant about social distancing, especially as you're trying to go out and shop or do whatever you do during the holiday season and holiday gatherings, and wear your mask as much as possible.
Yes.
And the last thing is, I know the vaccine is out. It's being distributed. I think that we heard that it will be here in Jackson County next week, I believe. And
I think she said they'd get ready first, you get 86 doses.
yeah, so we're going to be coming to our local healthcare here next week. So I fully plan to take the vaccine as soon as it's available personally. That's a decision every individual needs to make for their own selves and for their families. But I think the vaccine is safe. I haven't seen anything to prove otherwise. I know there is a lot of debate about it, but I fully intend to take it as soon as it's made available. And I would encourage everyone that can, because we have to get at least, the numbers I saw last night was 75% of the population needs to be vaccinated in order for it to be effective to create what they call herd immunity, to where we minimize the threat to those that don't take it. So I would encourage people to do that, to step up and receive the vaccine when it's available. And then just ending, appreciate, this has been a tough year. It's been a hard year. It's a year that none of us would have ever imagined. Who would have ever thought at the beginning of 2020 that we would have gone through what we've gone through? We've had health issues. We've had a whole sorts, but here we are. We've made it, and we're here today. And I'm just so thankful for all the hard work from our county staff, our board. We've worked well this year. So 2 new board members to fill these seats that we'll work well with in the years to come. And I think a lot of good promise and hope for us in the future. And with that, I will close and say, I know we're right in the middle of Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah to those celebrating Hanukkah. This is right sort of in the smack dab middle of it, Festival of Lights, but also happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all those salutations as well to those that are listening. and here today. So with that,
I'm not in no way I don't know a whole lot about Hanukkah. But for there ain't eating or anything going on with it. I like to know that.
There always is, always. I'll let you know.
He wants to be invited.
well, with that being said, do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting for the year?
So much.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Commissioner Stewart, I'll just tell you, if